everyone, it gives me great pleasure to announce one of my best friends, Karla Amador. Karla is a serial entrepreneur and co-founder of the 52 Hike Challenge, a global movement empowering hundreds of thousands of people around the world to get outdoors and take advantage of the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual benefits gained through hiking once a week for a year. She is also the CEO of Thrive, a cloud-based bookkeeping and consulting firm that specializes in QuickBooks. Thrive manages accounting duties for small to mid-range businesses and wealthy individuals. In addition, Thrive offers small businesses consulting services. Since the 52 Hike Challenge launched in December of 2014, over 20,000 participants have joined the challenge. Together with the community, she has created a culture of support, which can be seen in over 500,000 images shared under the hashtags 52 Hike Challenge and 52 Hike Challenge 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019 on Instagram alone. The 52 Hike Challenge has garnered much attention. It has partners like the National Park Service, Latino Outdoors, and Sierra Club, to name a few. Sponsors include REI, Crave, Jerky, Sawyer Products, Mountain House, Health Aid, Kombucha, GoPro, Country Singer, and more. Karla holds a BA from California State University of Fullerton in communications with a minor in business. Please help me welcome Karla Amador.
All right, let's close this door. Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here this wonderful Saturday morning. So, there's so much to say. I'm going to start off by, I'm wondering who's in the room first. So, who here likes to hike or goes out hiking? Okay, almost everyone. Great. So before today, had anyone heard of the 52 Hike Challenge? Okay, awesome. Has anyone here completed a 52 Hike Challenge so far? Thank you, Sharia. So, I'm going to start off by actually having you do an exercise with me. We're going to do a little bit of mindfulness right now. I want you to first, before we start, put down your sword. Don't worry about anyone else. You're here for yourself right now. Let go of any thoughts, fears, anything like that. And I want you to close your eyes with me. We're going to close our eyes, and we're going to do 3 deep breaths together. So we're going to take 1 deep breath, we're going to hold it at the top, and then we will release together, and I will walk you through that. So first breath, take a deep breath, hold it, exhale. We're going to take another deep breath. And with this deep breath, I want you to breathe in any fear, any worry, any anxiety, anything that's holding you back, because I need you to get into a good place so that we can use your creativity, imagination, and visualization. So on the next breath, take a deep breath in, inhaling any fears, worries, pain, anxieties, and then let it go. We're going to do that one more time. Take a deep breath in. Let go anything that's holding you back. And now, I want you to think about and visualize what you would do right now if you could have anything, be at the place of your dreams. Be that person that you know you are deep down inside. I don't know what you're going through. but just sit down and visualize where you would be and what you would be doing. And I want you to breathe in the sense of that place, that moment, and touch it with your mind's eye. I want you to picture it like you're playing a movie, where you would be, who is there, what does that look like for you? And just spend a few more moments in your perfect place. And then with a deep breath, breathing in acknowledgement, open your eyes. When I was going through one of the worst times in my life, I met a woman who asked me this question. She said, if you could do anything right now, what would you do? And I sat down, I closed my eyes, and I did that exercise. I was actually going through a divorce. For someone like me, being married was what defined me. So when that was taken away from me, I felt like I had nothing. And for some reason, when I sat and I did this exercise, I envisioned myself putting on a backpack. And I saw myself walking. And I saw myself in Peru, overseeing this incredible place. And on top of the mountain, I could oversee this beautiful valley. And I felt happy, whole, and free, which was the furthest from what I felt in that moment. Because I felt broken, I felt lower than dirt, I felt betrayed, I was in deep pain. Now, that was an interesting visualization, because I was no way, shape, or form what you would call a hiker, or someone who got out into nature. My weekends consisted of going outside and going to the mall and went shopping because I needed things to fulfill me, because I didn't really understand my purpose and what we're really meant to be doing in our lives. So as I'm going through this journey, my partner and I, my husband and I at this time, went to therapy, and the therapist said, you're codependent and your partner is an addict. And to me, that was a death sentence. I was like, what are you talking about? He's the one with the problem, not me. But the interesting thing is that once you start down this mindfulness journey, I started reading things about law of attraction. And so I was like, okay, something here has attracted this situation into my life. What am I doing? What's my... And so the therapist said, you should start a 12-step program. I'm like, why would I go to a 12-step program? But I decided to do the work because I didn't want to end up in this situation again. And so I started doing the work. I started going to therapy, I started going to the group, and I started working with Michelle, who is a different Michelle, who had asked me this question about what I would do if I could do anything in that moment. And it was about a year into the journey that I started realizing how childhood really has a lot to do with how we become adults and how we deal with things and how we replay things. And so I started going down this journey and really tapping in. And then I met Michelle, and I met all these incredible people that were on this journey of self-discovery. And so about 11 months later, I was going to an event, and I met someone who had lost 80 pounds through hiking. And I was really inspired. I was like, that's really impressive. And about 6 months later, we connected, and I was looking through his Facebook photos, and I saw these images of what I visualized, the backpacking, the mountains. And so we got together for a lunch, and we sat down and discussed how we wanted to leave a positive legacy behind. And so I knew in that moment that this person and I would do something really wonderful together. And so this is my co-founder, his name is Philip. So we ended up going, I asked Philip if he would take me for a hike, and he said yes. And on the hike, for the first time in about a year, there was something about hiking and walking and breathing in the fresh air and just overseeing this beautiful scene that created this space for gratitude and made me feel like, you know, I'm starting to feel better inside, something about this nature thing. And so a couple months later, we went on a trip, and I jokingly said, my New Year's resolution for 2014 is to hike once a week. So I said, yeah, that sounds great. That sounds like the 52 hike challenge. And we kind of joked about it and went about the rest of our trip. And 2014 came, and I'm a very committed person. When I say I'm going to do something, I stick to it. So I got back and I started going out on little hikes. Started doing hike 1, hike 2, hike 3. And got to about hike 10, and my co-founder says, let's go do Sit-in Peak. So Sit-in Peak is a small little mountain here in Orange County, but it is incredible. It's a 10-mile hike. So I remember as we were hiking, I wanted to give up so badly around 5 miles in, because there's just something hard about being outside, and you know, then you start tapping into that negative inner dialogue. But having the accountability and having someone as a partner on this made me stick to it, even though I wanted to give up. And so I remember getting to the top of the peak and sitting down, and I started crying because I was like, wow, I wanted to give up so badly. Here I am, and it felt good. And I wanted to have that feeling again, so I continued on my journey. And around hike 15, my co-founder says, okay, it's time to go do Mount San Gorgonio. And Mount San Gorgonio is the tallest mountain in Southern California. It is a beast. And I call it the mountain that broke me. Because being a new hiker, I did the smartest thing you do. I bought brand new hiking boots and decided to break them in on this 5,000 elevation gain hike that's about 18 miles. And obviously that wasn't smart, but I was new to the outdoors. So I went, and I remember about getting halfway through the hike, and then the negative thoughts came. Why are you here? You're a girl. This is stupid. You could be doing something else right now. This hurts. My feet hurt. The thoughts kept coming, and somehow I was able to hear those thoughts without being the thoughts, but I really did want to give up. And so as I mentioned to you guys, I was on this journey, this 12 steps journey, and one of the 12 steps is surrendering to a greater source. Now, at this time, I was a non-believer in, you know, I wasn't believing in anything, and so I'm like, what? I have to surrender to source? What is this? But on this hike, I decided, what do I have to lose? So I decided to surrender on this hike to source, whatever source was. And so I just started praying, and I started saying, I don't know why I'm in this situation. I don't know why my life isn't the way I want it to be, but I'm gonna surrender my will, and I'm just gonna do whatever you ask. And can you please help me make the summit? So I did make the summit, and I came down the mountain, and I cried about all the way down because I was in so much physical pain and also emotional pain. Really, I was still grieving this journey that I was on. And I remember that like the next day I realized, holy moly, no wonder my life has been so bad over the last, I think at that point, 10 years. I've mistreated myself for so many years. The more I've been on this journey, I realize every single human being at some point in their lives mistreats themselves. You're not good enough, you're not pretty enough. Everyone does this. And I tapped into that and I realized, I'm not letting that voice talk to me this way anymore. And I started taking back my power. And so I kept going on this journey, hikes, 15, 16, 17, 18, and what I found was there was a newfound sense of adventure. Every weekend going to a new place, bonding with my family, bonding with my friends, and this just became such a wonderful and positive thing because guess what? When you're out in nature, your problems don't matter anymore. You've actually taken yourself out of your day-to-day, and when you're in grandeur and beauty, you can't have those negative feelings and be looking at something like the Grand Canyon or a beautiful redwood. It's impossible. So you take yourself out of your moment of depression or anxiety, whatever is going on for you. And so I started seeing this positive effect in my life. And through climbing mountains, I started tapping into this power I had. And I was like, wow, there's something really, really powerful here. And I kept going and I kept hiking, and what Michelle talked about earlier happened, which was this surrendering and forgiveness that I had to go through on the trails. I allowed myself to cry. I allowed myself to feel. I allowed myself to reflect. When we're out in the real world, it's so easy to distract ourselves with our telephones, with friends, with food, with addictions. We're not tapping into what's really going on. What is hurting? What caused you to not feel good enough? So the trails really allowed for this space, and then I started just letting go, giving, and recognizing that every single human being suffers from something and is only treating us the way not only that we allow them to treat us, but that is their own level of consciousness. So I finished my 52 hikes in August of 2014, and I decided that I would like to go do Mount Whitney. Mount Whitney is the tallest mountain in the lower 48 states, and I felt physically, emotionally, spiritually ready to tackle on this mountain. And so my partner and co-founder took me, and we got up at 4 in the morning and we set off on our journey, and we got to a place called Trail Crest, which is about 2.9 miles from the summit. And I asked my co-founder to go ahead and move forward, and I would eventually catch up to him. And it was really where I feel that this movement came about, because I would call it another walk with Source. So I was walking, and I remember getting to a point where I felt this huge release of all this pain, of all this lack of belief in myself. And I felt that I would never, ever cry and feel that worthlessness ever again. My own 2 feet had taken me from the lowest point in life to one of the highest. And that release of pain and relief of pain was so overpowering that when I got to the summit, my co-founder and I cried, and I just said, I'm not crying because I feel emotional pain or physical pain. I'm crying because I feel a newfound sense of relief and release. And once I got down from the mountain, I knew that I had to share this journey with people. I had to share how empowering and healing the outdoors is, because it creates a safe space for us. My co-founder, as I mentioned earlier, had lost 80 pounds through the outdoors. And for me, it was a physical and emotional and really spiritual journey. And I felt like these are 4 really integral pieces of having a healthy lifestyle. You have to take care of these 4 pillars. Now, there's other steps you need to take, right, to have this kind of like life transformation. But nonetheless, I knew there was something there. And so I decided to share this with as many people as I could. As Michelle mentioned, my whole life since I've been a little girl, I've always known that I was meant to be an entrepreneur. So I went and did what a good entrepreneur would do, and I got a logo made on Fiverr for $5. And that logo has actually gone on to help hundreds of thousands of people now. So we decided to share. And it's our mission at 52 Hike Challenge to get people outdoors once a week for a year in order to gain the physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional benefits derived through nature and hiking. Well, not only has that transpired, there's so much more that I want to share with you guys. So, after I shared this and people started taking this challenge on in 2015, it's been almost 5 years now, incredible things have happened. Not only have we worked with some of the biggest brands known to the outdoor space and wellness space, but like Michelle said, there have been over 600,000 photos from people taking on the challenge on Instagram alone. That's 600,000 moments of joy and peace and serenity that this movement has brought to people. It's actually quite incredible to see that impact that you can have when you follow your path. I was speaking in San Diego a couple of months, actually last year, and a woman came up to me and she said, "Karla, I want to tell you that the 52 Hike Challenge inspired me to bring a hiking challenge to our organization to raise funds." So she works for Make-A-Wish Foundation, and they raised over $650,000 this year alone. The reason why I share this is because I followed this intuition of mine, and I just did what I felt deep down in my soul. And that's gone on to not only help hundreds of thousands of people and moments, but it's also created other large movements. What if I hadn't followed that intuition? What if I hadn't started just listening to that inner knowing, my visualization? I didn't hike, but I just went with it. Think about that. One person can have that kind of ripple effect. We're all connected. And so my hope in sharing this story is that it will inspire you to follow your own path so that you can too not only feel that sense of empowerment, but be that change. Hiking outdoors is not only something that can help you in the ways that I've discussed, but scientifically it's proven that hiking helps to reduce depression, anxiety, it helps kids with ADHD. Other things that it does is if you are outside, it's scientifically proven, for 3 days and you unplug, your creativity increases by 50%. That's huge, especially for people who are in careers that need that kind of level of thoughtfulness. I mean, obviously there's health benefits, right? Like you have things like heart disease, and hiking helps to elevate your blood, which cleans your system. And I mean, I could go on, and it helps to strengthen your bones. There's something really, really wonderful that I want to share with you guys, which is also called forest bathing. It's a technique called Shinrin-yoku. The Japanese really know and understand the importance of being out amongst the trees. So forest bathing is really stepping out and into the forests and any areas that have greenery, because when you're out there and you're breathing in the air, you're actually receiving what's called a phytoncide, and that's a natural killer cell which helps to create cells that help to reduce things like, believe it or not, cancer. So not only does being outside help you in all these ways, but you are known to recover quicker when you have some form of illness or ailment, or if you've had some sort of surgery. But for me, the thing that I love the most is that being outside really does connect you back with your intuition. If you go out there and you take your phone away, put it away, this is really a time for you to tap in-to your own stillness and source energy, really, because think about it. The trees are growing, the rivers are flowing. That's energy that is not man-made. It's coming from somewhere. So, as I continued sharing this 52 hike challenge journey with people, we've had some really incredible people write into us. There's a woman named Leslie Glenn who not only had cancer actually, and coming down, she found out, she said, I want our mind nature. So she went to Yosemite, and she said she saw the backpackers coming off the trail, and she was like, man, I would love to do that. And so she found our challenge and she decided to take it, and she wanted to do Mount Whitney. She backpacked it. And she wrote into us, and I won't forget her quote. You know, she said, I may have cancer, but cancer doesn't have me. And she's really stepped into her life living with cancer that eventually will take her life, but through the outdoors she's found this newfound sense of life and joy, and it's just absolutely incredible. So she's actually now gone about 5 years over her life expectancy, and a big part of that has been her following her path through the outdoors. And then we have two little girls that absolutely love getting outside, and their names are Lily and Ruby. They're 7 and 11, and they've completed over 100 hikes this year so far. And we have people like Nicole Brown, who took our challenge and then decided to create this massive hiking movement for women called Women Who Hike. So, you know, follow your path. Visualize. Get out there and get outside, because you never know what's going to come from that. So we don't have a lot of time left. We have like 7 minutes, and I would love to assist you in just taking the first steps to getting outdoors. You know, just put it down on your calendar. You know, I'm just going to take a walk, because when you're in those moments of frustration or anger or pain or depression, there's something about just going outside and breathing in the fresh air that really can change your perspective. It can allow you, like I said, to tap into some inner form of knowledge. So in order to help you to get started, I'm going to give you a couple of tips. And these are the things that you should bring with you when you're getting started. So first things first, if you have a notepad and pencil and paper, you may want to write these down if you're really interested in getting outdoors. You want to carry the 10 essentials, okay? These are 10 items that you want to have in your backpack in case there's ever a situation where you have to stay outdoors overnight. So there's ways that you can prevent that from happening, but this is a very common concern for people. So the 10 essentials include a navigation kit, which includes like a map and compass. You want to bring your sun protection, which is your sunglasses, hat, sunscreen, insulation, which includes some form of a hopefully rain jacket or some sort of a jacket for cold some form of illumination, which is your headlamp or a flashlight. You want to bring your first aid kit, something to create a fire with, your repair kit and tools. Bring extra food and extra water, and you want an emergency shelter, okay? That's really simple. You can buy like this, there's like these nylon, or I forget what material it is, but there's these like bags that they give for runners, so you could have something like that in your pack. And then you don't need to have great gear right off the bat, but you definitely need good traction on your shoes. And if you suffer from ankles, injuries and things of that sort, make sure you wear a good pair of sturdy hiking boots that they're like a mid-level boot, and they will help to support your ankle. Things that I hear a lot from people that come to our talks are like, I'm really afraid to go by myself. So one of the best ways that you can get started hiking if you don't have a support system right away is to join some local community around you. Believe it or not, so many parks here in Orange County offer guided and they have docent-led hikes. So look at your local park and look at their schedule for events. At 52 Hike Challenge, we have a huge community and we actually lead events. And one of the things we're going to be doing in 2020 is we are going to be launching hikes all around the nation. Right now, we just actually yesterday launched 15 hikes for Opt Outside with REI all around the nation, and it was incredible to see the impact we had. We went and we picked up trash, which is another form of mindfulness on the trails. So, you know, when you're out there, a lot of people are afraid of, what about animals? What about bears? What about snakes? So if you're staying on local trails in the city, usually this is really not a big problem. However, as you continue down your journey, I want to recommend that you educate yourself. There are certain things that you want to do. I actually just completed something called the John Muir Trail, and we had a bear in our camp on day 3. And because I knew exactly what to do, usually these animals don't really want anything to do with you, but I knew what to do. You know, I picked up my trekking poles and I made myself look big, and you know, it ran away. Like, it wanted nothing to do with us. It was curious. But as you continue your journey, you know, try to take as many courses. You can go to REI, they have free courses all the time. You can go online, YouTube. Anything you want to learn is nowadays is so easy to find online, really. So there's a great app called alltrails.com. You can download on your phone. It is absolutely wonderful because it can tell you, look at your location and tell you your local hikes. Some of them are walks. We count urban walks just as well as we count hikes. So check out All Trails, because I think that would be really beneficial to helping you to look at different trails. You can pick up a book. You can go online and look at modernhiker.com, things of that sort. And then before you go out for your hike, remember to check the weather. It's funny, like people think, oh, I'm just gonna go out, but these are simple things you can do beforehand to get you ready for a successful trip outdoors. And then 2 more things. Look up Leave No Trace. We all need to do our part to keep our earth, Mother Nature clean. So when you go outside, don't leave your banana peels, even though yes, they can disintegrate. It takes a long time, and then if everyone sees banana peels and oranges on the floor, they think, oh, I can do it too, and eventually it just looks like trash. Pack it in, pack it out, use the outdoors responsibly. So I would love to also recommend that you look for a hiking partner, some kind of a buddy that you can go on these trails with. Put it out there to your community of friends and family that you're doing something like the 52 Hike Challenge, because that's integral. On this journey, we need people that are on the same page as we are. That's why this is such a wonderful place to meet someone who's into mindfulness, to meet someone who wants to go do yoga with you. There's something about sharing in that journey with people that really helps to stay accountable. So, in conclusion,
Stressed out.
you know, if you guys are ever finding yourselves in a place of rock bottom, answer the call, because you don't know where that's going to lead you. Remember to surrender, to forgive, to let go. As Michelle said earlier, it's not for the other person, it's for yourself, for your own inner peace. And then don't forget to take people on that journey with you. So I really want to thank you guys for being here. This is my dream come true. And I just am very blessed to share this with you. And if you have any questions, I'm all here for you. I hope you guys will check out our website. It's just simple, 52hikechallenge.com. And I just wish you so much joy and peace and serenity. And I'm proof that doing the work works. And I feel like I finally reached that vision I had. I just went to Machu Picchu and I was there and I felt whole and complete on my own. Nothing more than that for
And then I
So thank you very much.
thinking,
You're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you very much. My name is Heaven. So we're in yoga teacher training. So
Wonderful.
to use this for our hours, but your presentation was phenomenal. Like it really was. I'm pretty much going to force her to be my hiking buddy now. So it definitely. Thank you for sharing.
if you don't mind.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you very much. It
Yeah,
was
this is a
definitely-
pin.
It's a fountain
fancy
pen.
Yeah, it's a little bit like, hopefully that works. Absolutely.
My wife died 4 months ago.
I'm sorry.
Go away. A couple of things you should tell people that start modestly. You don't try to big hike.
Yes.
Okay, get in shape on the streets
Yes.
as much as they can. Okay,
Yes.
I think that's very important. Okay.
This is beautiful.
I hope you don't mind that I grabbed you. My father passed away 5 years ago.